Here is the game plan for creating a fixed layout to flexible. Here's my layout for the flexible cats. Sorry, I can't draw. And I'm using a pen on a computer screen. Ah! Tough times. Let me try that one more time, actually. Haha! Okay, so there's one, and let's put the sidebar in. Oh, I can't because... How about a line? There's a sidebar. Okay. Ah! There we go. Okay, there's a sidebar. Header goes across the top, say. One more for the header. Okay, now my point is I need to know this number, which I know now, 960 pixels for the whole width. This I need to know, and this I need to know. That is the sidebar width and the content width. And let me just switch back to Dreamweaver to see what they were. Content was 636. Let me just write that in. And the sidebar was 324. So 636 and 324. Just a quick moment in my mind. I'm just like, does 636 and 324 add up to 960? I think they do, but I can't talk on a video and do math in my head at the same time. It just doesn't work. So 636 plus 324, 960. Perfect. Okay, so we know that those two columns added together must equal 960. And if I'm in percentage world, that means that 960 is equal to 100% of the layout. So if I am in here trying to figure out what the percentage of the layout each one of these columns takes up, this one becomes 636 divided by 960 times 100. And this one, the sidebar, 324 divided by 960 times 100. So this is why it's super important to first understand what your overall width is, because that's always going to be your denominator. So if you don't know this number, you can't figure out the percentages. Okay, now CSS won't do this math if you write it out like this, so you have to do the math yourself and then type it in. But I like to put the original numbers in comment form next to it, just in case I need to do any editing later, or I need to talk about it with the designer, or so forth. You know, designers work a lot in fixed layouts just normally, and so unless they're only a web designer, and sometimes you have to have a conversation with the designer about the fact that they don't have control over the size of the screen anymore. So sometimes it's easier to do that when you're both talking about numbers like 636 and 324, but really you know how to make those flexible. 636 divided by 960 times 100 is 66.25. So this is what I do with it. 66.25. I take that 66.25 and I put it right here, 66.25%. And then in the comments, I say 636 divided by 960. You can put times 100 if you want, but as long as you understand what the numerator and denominator are, then it's helpful to have these in as comments. So 324 divided by 960 times 100 is 33.75. Okay. 33.75%. Put this in comments just to make your life easier. You can put the units if you wanted. Okay, I'm going to save, and let's see what that does for me so far. Well, actually, it's not going to do anything for me so far because my overall width is still set to 960. So the other thing I need to do is to make this not be 960. The book I think is using 90% of the page, so you have a little bit of gap on the sides, and so we'll continue with that idea. And over here I'll just put that was the original number that I was starting with. So by the time you get into all your percentages, you kind of know what you need to do math-wise, and then for later when you've forgotten what you were doing, you can go back and just remind yourself in the comments. So I'm saving, and now I'm going to go back to my browser window and I'm going to refresh. And it doesn't look like anything happened. Right? Nothing happened. Well, something did happen. Let's see. Oh, hey, look. Look, my columns are resizing. the content is resizing. Look, so the size of the content's resizing. I hate this thing that's happening in the background with the column pictures, but you can see that my 2 columns are resizing. So in the next video, we'll see how to get this weird background image problem from happening.